What's up, everybody? Tommy here. World at War Comics back again with Renie Draws, Irene Strachalski.
Hey.
What's going on, Renie? It's so good to have you on. I've been reading your comic book for a while, and it's pretty cool to have you on.
It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me. And thank you for supporting Fiendish.
Absolutely. I can't wait to dig into the story. A lot has happened, and issue 3. So with issue 2, I had to ask about 2.5. So that's kind of like a throwback where we get to learn a little bit more about Kaz and everything that kind of led up to him being who he is, right?
Yeah.
So
that is correct.
And then issue 3 goes back to that same size as issue 1 and 2?
Yeah. So the 2.5 stories, that's why they're called 0.5, is they're not full books. They're one-shots. Often they're character backstories. Nice. And it's like stories that I think are cool, but they don't need to be in the main story. But It definitely helps if you read them. That's kind of how I think about it. In manga, there's a term called gaiden, which is outer story, and it's quite common in manga. But yeah, that's issue 2.5 was 25 pages. So like a floppy. But yes, there you go. Yeah, that's the campaign cover. Wonderful.
Yeah. Will we be getting like a 3.5 and a 4.5 then to kind of dig into Iskel, Yeomi, maybe Ragna?
The plan isn't to always have a 0.5 with every chapter. It's just when there is a story to tell. So I have a couple of other 0.5 ideas, but yeah, it's not like, well, there must be a 0.5 between every main chapter. Sometimes there won't be.
Got you. Makes perfect sense. Well, let's dig into where Fiendish came from. You've probably told this story 100 times, but it would be new to me if that's okay, Renie. But like, how long have you been kind of developing this story before you went into crowdfunding to bring it to life? Like, how long have you been sitting on this?
So let me move my mic closer to myself, and I'll turn my camera on in just a second, but not yet. I'm still a bit of a mess. So I started. Well, first of all, until about 2018 or 2019, I was working as a more or less a fill-in artist for Marvel, and up until 2020, I was still doing like couple of small stories for them. And I've always wanted to do comics. I majored in sequential art, which is comics in art school. But I realized I went to animation afterwards. I swear this is not going to be my whole life story. But basically, I realized that what I really wanted to do after working for Marvel and in animation was to have my own comic series, because I grew up with manga and I admired creators that had their own original ideas. And I think it just took a good amount of time to have the perspective and life experiences to build a story, because you definitely need that. And that's just the reality of it. But the inspiration was kind of just this built up knowledge of fantasy and horror, which are genres that I've always loved over the years. And I was playing, obviously I talk about having a strong tabletop gaming influence in Fiendish, so that's part of it. I was playing a lot of D&D and Pathfinder at the time, so even though Fiendish isn't supposed to feel like just a D&D campaign, I've obviously built my own world and own magic system, so it's not like I'm just drawing my D&D campaign. Certain things about I think playing tabletops helped me become a better world builder, let's put it that way. And it helped me flesh out the story and set a foundation for what was to come in the comics. So the inception of the story was just around like 2018. I was in Taiwan, and there was a gap when I didn't have any work for Marvel, and I was playing a lot of fantasy games. I was like, you know what? I want to, it just kind of happened. And I like to say that it didn't the story didn't all come to me at once. The first draft was very different. The only things that, well, there's certain things that I can't even say that'll be spoilery, but there was a hunter who had his hometown destroyed by monsters, and he was the only one that could uncover the truth behind what these monsters are. That's pretty much the only thing that was consistent from the first issue, and the species and the monsters have changed over multiple drafts. So I spent a lot of time redrafting it and refining the story. Then I eventually found the themes that I wanted to talk about as a writer. So that's where we are now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, issue 1, right here is issue 1. What's great about your campaign, obviously, like a lot of campaigns, if you've missed Fiendish and you want issue 3, but you want to catch up, all 4 issues will be available. And I'll throw up the Indiegogo here in a minute. But here's where kind of the story begins. And we do get a little bit of a background for Kaz and for Iskel. And then we obviously get introduced to Yeomi, which is probably a fan favorite. I don't know.
Yeah, people
She's
really
awesome,
like
really.
her.
Yeah,
people really like her. That's really great. It's really great. Yeah, people like her more than my main character, but it's completely understandable. I made the very smart decision to have an unlikable main character. I don't know why I did that, but at least there are other characters that are very sympathetic.
yeah. I mean, he's a badass, though, right? It just especially when you read like 2.5 and you start to understand everything that he went through, I think that would make any normal person a little hard. And it's all about survival, right? And I feel like because of his age and maturity and what he's gone through, the other 2 characters in your story so far really need that.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely a balancing act from the start. The story was a team story, so I have 1 protagonist but 4 main characters. So Kazimir, Iskel, Yeomi, and Ragnar, and they all have strong arcs. The story doesn't work without them all in sync. And Iskel and Yeomi are like the younger, sympathetic characters. Ragnar and Kazimir are the older. They're more assholes. They're more worldly, but they're also stronger, and they're like the powerhouses of the team. And yeah, I also excuse me, sorry. There's part of me that definitely I recognize that there's been this strange aversion to tough male characters in American media. It's still very common in manga, but I felt like, I mean, obviously, I'm not a man, so I don't know how well I could do it. But the point of being a writer is to put yourself in the shoes of another person. So hopefully I've achieved that. And I felt like it was important to have a main character who's a guy who was like a man's man, and he makes no apologies about it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. And I do feel like maybe we've gone a little too far on the other end of that within comic books. I do think there is a desire for that. And if you look at manga right now and the popularity of it, that could be one of probably a bazillion factors of why manga is so popular right now, especially amongst younger readers, right?
Yeah, so the part of the success of manga is there's multiple factors. The industry itself being very competitive is the first part of that. So if you know about how manga is published, it's highly competitive. It's the readers vote on which series are their favorite every week. When in magazines like Shonen Jump and all the other magazines, and the ones that consistently get voted badly by readers get canceled. So it's direct reader feedback. It's competitive, not just between creators, but it's completely based on the merits of your work. And that's part of why manga has been able to filter for really successful and talented creators. And the other part of it is the anime adaptation. When they adapt something from manga to anime, they stay true to the manga, and that helps a lot. I don't know why America can't manage that. It's wild. You have to change it. If it goes to Hollywood, you have to change it. And then there's another part of it is they understand their demographics. I think with manga, so you still have these genres like shonen, seinen, josei, shoujo, and it's the name itself is based on demographics. Shonen is for young boys, seinen is for grown men, josei is for grown women, and shoujo is for young girls, and they know their demographic, and there isn't this approach of your story has to be for everyone. They embrace their target audience and they serve their target audience.
It sounds like so simple, Renie.
It really is. It's like common human. It's just understanding how humans work.
Yeah. I'm a big obviously I'm a big action figure collector, and I collect a lot of McFarlane toys. And I don't know if you heard this, but he was on an interview and they asked him why he doesn't create more female action figures. and he does create some, but he made a comment that, you know, my main audience is older men and younger boys. And certainly there's young girls that buy them, certainly older women that buy my figures, but the mass of my consumer base is male, and it's guys my age that are collecting and trying to relive their childhood probably. And then even a smaller portion is younger boys. It's really older men that are collecting these type of figures because they're, you know, $30-$40 a piece.
Yeah.
And he got annihilated for saying that. And he goes, I'm just
Ridiculous.
basing it off Walmart and Target sales. You know, they give me sales. I know my demographics. And so, but yeah, I don't think that's offensive at all. I think that's just human nature. And I think that's why it's working so well with manga.
Yeah, there's nothing offensive about that kind of stuff at all.
Mm-mm.
Like I think there's this sort of trend in Western societies where, honestly, we live in comfort and we're very wealthy compared to the rest of the world. So I like to say that people can't afford to not live in reality. That's what it feels like in America, because I've lived outside of America, so I think that helps with a slightly different perspective. I dare say. And that kind of thing is just ridiculous to say in Asia or in, you know, anywhere else in the world. It's like, well, of course, men and women like different things, and they have different appreciations, and they buy different things. So what's wrong with just recognizing that and catering to one or the other? He didn't say women shouldn't have any toys or any entertainment. He said my stuff is for men. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. No, it sounds like it's obvious, but anyways, whatever. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe one day
whatever.
we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah. I feel like things have kind of gotten better. It's changing. I think we're going back to normal. Because this kind of, you can't live in fantasy land forever, and you can't deny reality forever. I think there was a period when there's a whole, I don't really know what happened. It was just, it was like this fever dream of a few years where it felt like, honestly, people around my age were coming of age
Hmm.
and just didn't really have a, I don't want to trash on millennials too much, but it does feel like there's a whole generation of entertainment. I won't blame it on the people
Yeah.
that wanted to not live in reality. And then, well, sales went down. They realized that, well, we're not catering to the customers. Maybe what worked in the 90s and early 2000s was perfectly fine. And I think things are going back to normal.
Yeah. It certainly feels that way. I
Mhm.
always felt like I love that idea of what you talked about in cultures where manga is extremely popular, where they're able to vote once a week on their favorite titles, and those ones that don't get the votes just don't survive. Um,
Yeah.
in every other business outside of like Hollywood or anything related to Hollywood, whether it be comic books, whether it be storytelling, everything else lives and dies by that. So I'm in the
Yeah.
grocery industry and we come out with new items of, you know, grocery items all the time. And if they don't sell, we can't afford to keep producing them just because we
Uh-huh.
want them to be out there, right? They get canceled and discontinued immediately because you can't afford to run a business like that. But I feel like for whatever reason in Hollywood, they could continue to push out things that don't do well. And I don't know. It's just weird to me that it continues.
Yeah.
It's the only
I
industry that it does that.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's because it's internally promoted. It's not externally promoted. I don't really, I need to find a better term for
Yeah.
expressing that. But having worked in entertainment, it it depends on what kind of entertainment, but Hollywood and showbiz and even um publisher comics, it does have this veneer of, well, your success doesn't depend so much on what the consumer wants and direct consumer feedback and what sells. It depends on what the company approves of, what the people have money with approve of. And
Mhm.
that's kind of just turned on his head. And I think that's where the ability to not live in reality comes from, because the money's there. It's so wealthy. They can afford to just live in have their heads in the clouds and
Mhm.
afford to fail and not have to think about, well, if my project fails, if it doesn't please the customers, I fail. So I have to actually make something good and consider reality and what the audience wants.
Yeah, exactly. I don't do a whole lot of reviews in comics. And again, I'm all for creating whatever comic anybody wants. And I think sales should dictate whether it survives or not. And if you have an audience for what you're creating, no matter what the topic is, no matter who the characters are, then more power to you. But if it's not, that's where it starts to get really weird for me. I don't know. I
Yeah.
love that idea where sales dictates everything.
Yeah, there's a balance, because I've been thinking about this a lot, especially having a bit more of an audience online.
Mhm.
Once you're making anything that has a good amount of readers,
Yeah.
which you start having to think about what feedback do I take to heart, and you can't shut yourself up to feedback. I gotta do everything my way. It's funny. I recently talked to some other creators, the ElfQuest creators. I talked about this on my channel, and I asked them for advice on how to incorporate feedback for other people, and they basically were like, just don't listen to anybody, do whatever you want. And I mostly agree with that. I say 90%
Yeah.
that's true. And it's hard for some people. I think I'm naturally very agreeable, but the story comes first, so I can't let other people dictate what my story is. If somebody's offended by something in Fiendish, I can't let them cow me into not doing the best for the story.
Yeah.
So yeah, those kinds of things are important. But I think also the I think about what it must be like in the shoes of somebody with an even more massively successful franchise, and things must happen in the story where people appear outraged and appear to
Mhm.
not like it. Well, at what point do you consider that and change the story? I think a good metric to go on is the criticism based on what the viewers want, like what they want for
Yeah.
their benefit or their comfort levels, or is it based on what's best for the story? And I think you should only incorporate criticism and changes that are based on what would be best for the story.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things. I'm all about serving the readers,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, the story being true to itself also comes first.
Yeah. I can imagine where, especially when you start to have 556 backers for your book, Renie, when you
Yeah,
start to have that many people
it's
backing you,
crazy. It's crazy. I'm very
insane.
grateful.
It's insane. And I know you'll do like a different one after this, and it's going to be like close to 1,000 probably backers. And congratulations, by the way. It's so well done. But
Thank you.
at the end of the day, Rainey, like like you said, there's this balance between taking feedback and taking so much of it, then you start to lose the story that you fell in love with to begin with and that you want to tell, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with a lot of American adaptations, where there must be, like, I haven't sat on the boardroom or the pitch
Mhm.
room of any of these adaptations, but from what I've heard and from just watching how these adaptations tend to turn out, I can't help but feel like there must be a level of ego going into it. Like, we have to add our own mark on this
Mhm.
to change it from the comic so it's ours. It's not just the comic. We can't do the same story again. People have seen that. It's boring. I think that's ridiculous. You're
Yeah.
making the same story for an expanded audience, so you can do the exact same story in a different medium. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, there must be a level of, well, we want to change it and all that to why that happens,
Yeah.
and that's not necessary.
It's not necessary. I agree with you. I
No,
agree
no,
with you.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible. Well, let's kind of get into the process of putting the book together, right? Because you're writing it and you're also obviously doing the art from it. Like, explain that process and how long it takes, because I feel like it's almost like two different sides of your brain that you have to use. I don't know if it's right side, left side. Like, how do you manage the story? Do you start with the story, or do you start with sketches of what you want the character to look like at the very beginning? Like, where does this all begin for you?
Right. This is a really great discussion. I'm so glad you asked that. That it's not something that uh that's talked about a lot. I think I don't have a very clearly defined process. It's kind of chaos. I think some creators have a clear answer for that. I start with the character designs, then I design out from the character designs. But the type of story that Fiendish is, it's very dictated on the plot. So the plot has been set. There are some things that have wiggle room that I'll kind of figure out and make decisions on as the story goes forward. So it's not like I have every single line in the story for the next 10 books written out, which is how long the series is going to be. Pray for me. But the plot comes first because it is a very tightly written story, and that dictates what the chapters will be. But at the same time, I want to, and this is something I've been improving on. I think I've gotten better since book 1. Is making a comic that has flair and style, and that's something I'm constantly trying to build now because I know the plot is good. I know the character arcs are solid, and of course I've done a lot of world building. That's just the bones surrounding all the plot and the characters. So the next level, the last step for me, is adding that pizzazz. That's as Mike Barron once phrased it, and he's great, by the way. So he's so good to talk to about storytelling and having that pizzazz, like cool character designs and characters doing cool things with their powers and solving problems in interesting ways. That is the last step. It's just like having nice inks on top of solid pencils. So for me, it's writing and the plot first, and then I figure out fun designs that reflect what the plot needs.
Interesting. When you're drawing, so you have your plot laid out, and when you're drawing, does what you create through your drawing ever change your story, or does it ever add to it because maybe you like something that came out in the drawing?
Sometimes it does. It So what will happen is I'll write, because I don't write very tight scripts. I write summaries and then I go to thumbnails. So as I'm designing the characters, what will happen oftentimes is I'll draw a character's travel outfit, and as I'm drawing their travel outfit, there will be some detail like, oh, they're going to a colder climate, so they're going to wear this coat. Well, where did they get that coat from? Oh, maybe I should add a scene in the story. It would be cool if I dictated this or that, or if like these two characters have coats that are made from the same material, then you can kind of see, oh, they probably hunted a bear together. All these visual cues that add to the world and the background, and usually I try not to add in characters that are just there because I think the design is cool. Because what I've realized is if I let the plot and the story lead what characters need to be in the story, then it's the cool stuff will kind of naturally occur. Like for early on in the story, in the development of Fiendish, I had whole bunch of characters that were just there because I was like, I want to make all the cool characters. This is fantasy. I can make anything I want. And then I realized this is extraneous. It's a lot to manage, even for characters all at once and all of their arcs. So I'm only going to do what the story needs. And then what I realize is even just doing that, staying true to the plot and putting it first, the story kind of rewards you for that. So I will be writing a side story or a plot, and all of a sudden I'll realize, oh my gosh, I had this cool design that I was willing to put aside because it didn't fit in the story. I was trying to force it into the story before, but now this is perfect for this new section that I'm writing, and I already have the design for it. So that does happen.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like from a storytelling standpoint and even from a character design standpoint, it's like a funnel, right? It starts really broad and then it starts to tighten as you start to put it all together.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it's like.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it comes together so nice. Your art is amazing. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Issue 2, this cover right here, I absolutely love.
Thank you. Yeah, you got the campaign covers too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, they're so cool, and the art came out really well. The character development is great. Like I said, Yeomi, I feel like has kind of grown on me, and I'm rooting for her. I feel like they all have terrible backgrounds, right, and histories, and is why they're together, and that they're roaming and they're on these adventures, and then all of a sudden I will say I laughed out loud when the theater owner came on his cart and Kaz and Iskel were walking and he goes, "Hey ladies." Do you remember
Like,
that?
it was laddies.
Oh, was it? I think it
Laddies.
said ladies.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. That's funny though. That's fine if you think that. 'Cause
no, I
that would have
read
been
it. Of course, I wear glasses, but I read that. I didn't know it said laddies. I said, "Did
yeah,
she
I
just
tried to
say
give him an
ladies?"
accent. That's great. That's great. That's a great misreading. No, it's
So
totally fine.
I thought that's what it said. I was dying. I'm like, no way, he just said that to him.
Oh, I should have added that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to I don't know. I feel like the story is really serious at some point. So I'm trying to add a little more humor into it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um yeah, that would be funny. Maybe I'll go back and change it to ladies.
yeah, yeah. Well, when Kaz gets attacked by Nina, and that was a pretty funny spot too. And Yeomi had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah, yeah. I try to have a little levity. So it's one of those things where manga does that a lot, just having breathing room for the story. And I try to make sure the reader has time to relax and just you gotta see the characters sitting around at camp
Yeah.
and just being humans
Mhm.
and just normal people instead of plot, plot, plot all the time.
Yeah.
You don't want to just have too much of we're sitting in a cafe talking about our feelings, but small moments of
Sure.
humanity are important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yomi has some pretty unique powers. Are we going to see a lot more of that moving forward?
Yomi? Yom
Yomi, yeah, where she
I don't
touches
see the
someone and
Oh
the
no, that's Iskel. That's Iskel.
oh, I'm so sorry, Iskel. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, no,
It
no.
was
It's
with
yeah, it's
the
fine.
situation was with Yomi.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
Are we going to see a lot more of that moving forward, or that
Oh,
comes
yeah,
into
yeah, yeah,
play?
definitely. Yes, yes. So all the things like Kazimir and Iskel don't really have powers. Like Iskel has a curse.
Yeah.
So the thing where he touches something and he sees the most traumatic memory of that person, that's a curse. It's kind of a mystery where that comes from and all that, but we'll definitely
Mhm.
be seeing more of that. And Kazimir's thing where he wasn't burned by the demons in chapter 1, that's
Yes.
also a plot point. All of these things aren't just there for fun. It'll come into play as the story goes on.
Interesting. Now, when you created all these characters at the beginning and then you said, "Man, I better chill and bring it down and kind of tighten
Yeah.
everything up," are some of those characters still in your back pocket? And will we see some of those moving forward too, just a little bit slower and over time?
Yeah, yeah, not all of them, but
Mhm.
definitely some. And there's several characters that have just evolved into new versions of themselves and they'll come back as those new versions. So I try to be aware of what I could manage early on because I understand that everyone tells you for your first comic, don't do some epic big fantasy project. You're not going to be able to manage it. Well, look at me. um, even though it's not my first comic, I've been of course I did publisher comics, but I also did a lot of one shots and short comics for years. But it is my first actual series, but I'm trying to make it more manageable for myself by making sure that the early part of the story only
Mhm.
focuses on 4 characters. Frigi, who's Ragna's grandmother, comes into the story in 2.5 and 3, and the cast is quite small all the way through Dorvo. So the next part of the story is they're going back to Dorvo, Kazimir's destroyed hometown, and it's a very small plot until they eventually get to they're going to go to Malkenka, which is this shaman's it's kind of like a knowledge center. It's a citadel up in the mountains. It looks really cool. I'm very excited to show that. But that you don't see too many other characters until then, and the cast expands. So that's kind of me making things manageable for myself, and expecting that I'll get better at handling characters and all this stuff as I go on. So you got to start small and predict your own improvement down the line.
That's awesome. Incredible. Well, I can't wait for issue 3. I'm going to pull up the Indiegogo while we're talking, and that way we could
Okay.
kind of walk through because there is 2 days left on the Indiegogo. So there's you still got opportunity
Yeah.
to jump in and pick it up. I already got mine, so you should be getting yours as well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course.
Yay!
Of course. So let
Ah,
me fix
yeah,
this.
it will Be ending it should be Saturday night.
Saturday night. So we got a couple
Mm-hmm.
days left, and some pretty cool. Here's all the characters we've been talking about.
Yes. Yeah, I had that in the chapter 2 campaign as well. I was like, I wasn't sure because of course I've studied what other crowdfunding campaigns do, and usually you lead with the covers, and every campaign is different. And I think my first Fiendish campaign it was the covers, but in chapter 2 I put a character sheet or a character intro like this at the top, and chapter 2 did really well. So I think because the story is so dependent on the characters, I think I'll do this every time and kind of lead with who they are first.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, this is also the I have a last time on Fiendish page at every chapter, and it's I have a small summary and then these little character blurbs. So it's something that you see in manga. I know in American comics they also have last time on Spider-Man so and so, but in manga it's not just that, it's character by character. So you'll get 2 or 3 pages of you get the character's headshot and then a blurb next to their headshot of who they are and what they've done up until this point. And so that's what I'm doing with Fiendish. I've always liked that way of doing a catch-up page.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I love how your love for manga has bled into like an American style comic book. And then just watching you on previous interviews, my understanding is that you do have a manga version of Fiendish, right, for Asia?
Oh yeah. It's
for Japan, right? You had it in Japan, right?
Yeah, I had it in Japan. I do have a Japanese version. I still have a few copies available on the store if you guys are interested in that. It's not very manga-y. It's printed at a manga size, that's all. But I didn't flip the art because I did some research and it's not necessary to have it read from right to left. You can read Japanese left to right, and apparently it is quite common for comics and books that are adapted from Western writers that everybody knows is adapted from Western writers. And like Fiendish is obviously a very, it's like fantasy Europe. So I don't think anybody would have a problem with it not being flipped, because I didn't want to deal with the whole problem of, well, in the Japanese version, this character Scar is on the left, but in the English version, it's on the right. And then people get confused. So it's not flipped or anything, but it's a smaller Japanese edition. And I brought it to a Comic-Con in Japan for the first time this year.
Yeah. And it did well?
Yeah, it did very well. It was interesting because it was the first day and a half was me just struggling to figure out, well, first of all, the language barrier, and then just how to talk to people. And then what I realized was essentially handing out this character sheet right here. And I already had it translated into Japanese because, like I said, this is the last time on Fiendish page in the book. So what I did was I just grabbed that page, changed the title to an introduction of Fiendish, and printed it out at a 7-Eleven and started handing it out at cons. And the book did so much better because now I didn't have to, try to speak to people in my baby Japanese, and people could read about the characters and be enticed to come back on their own.
Yeah. Because you speak Cantonese, right?
No, I speak Mandarin Chinese.
Oh, Mandarin. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, but does most people, was it the Osaka Comic-Con that you were at?
Yeah, I was in Osaka.
Yeah. Did most people speak English as well, or not really?
Not really, no. Japan is one of those places where regular people just don't speak any English at all, even in Tokyo. But what's interesting is at the Comic-Con, I was kind of laughing at the situation because it was an American style Comic-Con in Japan. There were actually a lot of people asking for the English versions. It was just expats going to the Comic-Con being like, hey, I live in Japan and I want a copy of Fiendish. I was like, I don't have enough English versions there. So like, I flew all the way to Japan and brought the Japanese editions. People go there and ask me for the English version. that was funny.
You're gonna have to change up next time,
Yeah. I have to be like, well, I'll just only bring the English versions.
Now, because that manga size is so popular even in the US, are you going to produce in English in that size too?
No plans for that. Not really. I think the American market is people are. I also don't want to have like a million different versions of the book. I'm already resistant to having too many variants.
Yeah.
If people ask for it, then sure. But right now there are no plans for that. I'm planning on doing collected editions after I have several chapters. Just because it's so many books. Like, what am I gonna make you pay $100 just to catch up on all the story up until this point? I'll do a collected edition at some point, and I'd
Right.
like to do a oversized artist edition as well. So
Yeah.
the American ones are gonna just go bigger.
I mean, I love it. I mean, I'm all in these oversized art editions from some of my favorite artists. I think that would do really well for you.
Yeah, I own a couple. I have one of what was that? Wasn't it an IDW book, the Klaus, like the muscular Santa Claus book? I have an artist
Yes.
edition of that, and it's
So
great. It's
good.
sitting on it's sitting on an easel at my place in Taiwan, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
this
have
looks
the
so
Mark
awesome.
Silvestri one that's over on the other room, and I just picked up the Dennis Cohen one,
Cool.
which Dennis Cohen is one of my favorite artists. I love him. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I've always loved the
I
artist
love these kind of
edition.
books. I think Daniel Warren Johnson one just came out, which is really good too. I'm waiting for that to come in. So I think yours would
Cool.
do really well, Renie.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, that is down the line, along with world building book and all kinds of other plans. So many plans.
Well, your influence with RPG, are you planning, like, you already have a language, you've done so much already, you're so close. You just need to sell dice with your book next time, I think.
Yeah, what's funny is I made custom dice, just handmade and carved dice in the Narsa, which is the constructed language for Fiendish.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to get around to casting them and
Yeah.
offering them on the store or the campaign. And I feel a little dumb for not offering them here, but at the same time, I was trying to not have too many tchotchkes, and I couldn't find someone to. Basically, I just wanted to draw, and I didn't want to get mired for hours and hours casting dice right now. But I do have that ready to go. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do like a simple card game campaign on the side and have the dice with it.
Yeah, I mean, that could be like a little fill-in campaign for you as you're working on issue 4 or 4.5, whatever. That'd be awesome. I think a lot of people would love
Yeah, yeah, maybe that's a great idea. Perhaps.
that. Perhaps. Here's some of your art from issue 3, some of the interiors that we could look forward to.
Yeah, and you can actually read the first 15 pages on Global Comics. If you scroll down, there's a little button that'll just lead you right to the preview. Yeah, there you go.
Right here. That's awesome.
So yeah, I have the first 15 pages. They're complete, and you can just go through and read it.
Very cool. Interiors look amazing. I love your backgrounds because you do put a lot of time and not just the characters on the page, but your backgrounds are always very detailed, which is probably, I don't know how long it takes you to put something like this together, but I mean, look at the table.
Yeah, that the backgrounds kind of depend.
Yeah.
I quite like drawing backgrounds. Sometimes it's frustrating. Like, it's not as much fun as characters, but it's I think I've talked about this before, how backgrounds are their own character though if you do it right. And it's something that it is difficult to grid up and do perspective and all that, but I've kind of forced myself to be able to do that, and it's definitely time consuming. But when you get to detailing and adding all the little characters and like the stuff on the table, that's so much fun.
Yeah.
So I've learned to have fun with drawing backgrounds, and I think it elevates a comic a lot because the story is so much more than just the characters looking good. And sure, they lead the story, but what they're doing and the immersion of the reader's experience depend on the surrounding art as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have, like, should fans of your title, should they be looking at the background because they might be Easter eggs that come back? Are you doing anything like that we should be paying a little bit more attention to your backgrounds because of?
Yes,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have like huge plot point things hidden in the background, but there are definitely small details. Like everything is there for a reason. I for example, when I'm drawing a page like this interior of Thalfrin is
Mhm.
this shaman's hermitage that the characters arrive in chapter 3. I'm thinking about all the items that the characters will need to live a normal life there. What is their daily routine? Where do they eat? Where do they cook? And like I based that little kitchen island in the bottom right corner off of the kitchen island in my grandparents' place in Taiwan. And it was built in an era where they didn't have electricity or running water, so it had a well built into the house. And cool. That kitchen island looked kind of like that, so it's all those things that I kind of incorporate. But yeah, to answer the actual question, there's a silly joke I've been adding into most of my comics since I worked at not even since I worked at Marvel, since I was in college. It's a funny little bird that I put in my background. So it's an Easter egg in most of the comics I do. Yeah, I think I forgot to do it in chapter 2. But I might go in and add it. But it's in chapter 1. And it's this derpy looking yellow ball of a bird. So that's hidden in the background of every book.
Alex knows. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows. Alex is a super fan, man. He knows it. He knows. He
wrote it right before you said it, so that was legit. I can vouch for
it. Yes. He does actually. He knows what he's talking about. But yeah, so there's that.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yes, the interiors just look phenomenal, incredible, great stuff.
Oh, finally, thank you very much, Derpy Bird.
Oh, there you are, Renie.
Hello, I'm finally not goblin face and I'm ready. Awesome. Like 40 minutes into the show. I apologize.
You're good. Now, this is a question I try to ask everybody, especially artists. Like, there's obviously things that you absolutely love with what you're doing. There's more of that than not because you continue to put out comic books. What is the one thing that you just, as you're putting your comic book together, either from an art standpoint or what is the one thing you just dread? You know you have to do. It's a chore, but it just has to happen. But you do it because everything else you love about it.
So there, I don't know if it's just because if this is something that'll happen less as I improve as a comic artist, but there are always pages in every comic that you kind of don't want to draw, and that's just a reality of it. But they have to be there. At least to me, I don't add pages in just for the sake of it. The main Fiendish books are big books. Chapter 3 is 70 pages, just like chapter 2. So every page needs to be there. It's either there for plot or it's for pacing purposes. And there's so much stuff happening. Go read the 15-page preview and you'll know what I mean. Imagine 70 pages of that. A lot happens in just those 15 pages. And so sometimes there will be a page though that just takes absolutely forever. And it's not even because it's boring. It's not even because it's just a talking page. For example, I was just penciling a page that took me days to get through. And there's no reason because it was an action page. It was cool. And I don't know what it is. It could be just my headspace that day, but you have to force yourself to get through it. That just happens. And and the other thing that's annoying is translating the Narsa for Fiendish. It's not that I like the results, but the process is so hard, and I'm committed to doing it because the whole reason I built this language is so the reading experience would feel more genuine and feel more immersive. But when it comes to actually making that happen, like the first time I had to do it, it was like, oh, it's so much fun. But then the second time in chapter 2, there was more Nanarsa, and I was also in a rush to finish lettering the book, and I was like, why did I do this? So much work. I was losing sleep. And then with the 15-page preview I just put up, I was up all night for like 2 days translating it because it's not as simple as taking the English lines and just translating it word for word. The syntax is different. I based the syntax of a language on Chinese, so I have to say the lines in Chinese first, and I find the words in the Narsa dictionary because it's not like I actually speak the language, but then I have to make sure the grammar is correct, and then after I spell it out in just the phonetics, I have to find the symbols and drag them in one by one, and then sometimes I don't have a logograph, so Nanarsa is a combined logographic and phonetic writing system. So you don't spell out every single word. It's kind of like Japanese, where Japanese has hiragana and katakana or kanji. And Nanarsa also has kanji, which are logographic one symbol words. So for example, in English, if I said bird, I would write BIRD. But in Nanarsa, you would draw a symbol that kind of looks like a little bird, which is just like how Chinese and Japanese works. So sometimes there are logographs that I have to make up, and then I have to, put that in the story and then make sure it's in the glossary. So it's this extended process where the only thing that gets me through it is the reader's enjoyment at the end of it. Also, I hate doing fulfillment, but that's why I have Critical Blast doing it for me. I'm really bad at fulfillment. I'm so slow. I'm never going to, unless it's only like $50, I'm never doing it again.
I don't think anybody likes fulfillment. Everybody I talk to is like,
some people do.
Really?
Some people do. Some people are like, oh, I just love cutting tape and like folding boxes. It gives me peace. I'm like, good for you. I don't. I want to draw.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. You definitely did not
thank you,
make
Alex.
This... Yeah.
I'll check it out. Thank you.
Yeah. You did not make this easy on yourself. That's for sure.
No, I didn't. But I think I can't commit to something creatively unless I know it's difficult and it's a challenge, right? Because how are you going to improve as an artist? It's kind of, I don't want to be bored. I didn't choose to be an artist because it's easy or this is safe. I want to actually feel like, well, there's always a challenge. There's something to improve on at every turn.
That's awesome. Well, I definitely want to talk about this cover because this cover is insane. Absolutely incredible. I look at the detail. Looks like we're getting more of that same creature that we saw in issue 1, in issue 3, which is absolutely insane. But the detail on this is just, it's like next level. Like, how long does something like this take to put together?
I don't know. I kind of worked on it on and off. It's funny, I was traveling at the time, so I brought it with me to Colombia when I was in Colombia for a while. So I would say if I was just sitting in my studio, it may take me about 4 days, 4 days, because it is very, very high detail, and the lines are also very tight. And it's because I knew, even though I have the original art, actually, let me grab it. It's right over there.
Oh, wow.
All of Fiendish 3 is drawn traditionally, so I have original art for all the covers and pages. So this is the actual piece.
We need to blow you up. Hold on. I have a big screen in front of me, so give me a second.
Sorry, take your time.
There we go. Wow.
So that's the part in the glare, but hopefully you can still see it.
You could definitely still see it.
Yeah, and it's not that big. It's an 11 by 17. It's standard comic size, but the lines are very very tight. And that's because I knew I would be using this piece as a banner for the comic and also as a convention banner. So I was going to blow this up huge and zoom in. So I drew this with mostly a 0.003 micron, which is really, really small. So if you can see like the lines, if you zoom in, you can see how fine the lines are. That's my finger. So it took a long time. Like obviously I don't go to that tight of a detail level for interior pages.
Right. That's insane, Renie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. Like the detail is so next level.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I was very much with that cover. I was like, okay, so there was a gap between chapter 2.5 and this. So I spent a year kind of doing the translated editions, the Spanish and Japanese editions, and going to cons. So I knew there was a gap between the books. I was like, okay, when Fiendish comes back, it has to be really good. And with every new book, I wanted to be good no matter what. But especially with this book, I knew I had to do the best job I possibly could.
Yeah. Well, I think you nailed that. for
Yay!
sure.
Oh, I'm glad. I'll keep
That
trying.
is
And yeah,
crazy. When I
those
saw
are
this, I was like, "That's crazy. That's just insane."
yay!
Yeah.
And this is a campaign exclusive cover. So you can only get it during the live campaign period. You won't be able to get it afterwards. I only have one cover for every Fiendish book that is printed after the campaigns.
Okay. Well, I got mine, so I'm done.
Yay!
That is
Thank
dope.
you.
That is dope. That is dope.
Thank you,
Incredible.
Alex. Yay.
This one's pretty
Yeah,
awesome as well.
that's the 24-hour or the opening and closing cover. I think I'll open it back up on Saturday because I'm doing the whole 30 days and then extending it. Some people might be waiting for it to open at the 30-day closeout. So I'll make it available on Saturday, but it's only for the first and last days of the campaign. And I'll open it for the 30 days as well. But I do that for every Fiendish book. With all the other books, those are called the dark covers. Do I have one over here? Yes, I do. Yeah, here's a chapter 2 one. So it's this white on black diamond design, and these are the super limited ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
very cool.
I just put it back.
Oh yeah, throw it back up. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's awesome.
Fine. Yeah. This is a chapter 2 one of Ragna.
Ragna, yeah, that's dope. Looks good.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And then you have the perma cover.
Yeah, so that is the one that will that's the permanent cover that will be continued after the campaigns. In previous campaigns, I didn't have the perma cover on because I just decided, well, all the campaign covers will be campaign exclusives, and then I'll just figure out a new cover after the main campaign. But this time, because I know money is tight and customers have asked, can you have the perma cover on the campaign? And I realized that people like knowing your plan for the series. They want to know what will be offered so they can budget, and they don't want it to be surprised. So for those purposes, I added the perma cover to this campaign.
Yeah. I mean, this one's so detailed as well.
Yeah, that's also an original piece. I have it somewhere else, but yeah, that's also traditionally drawn. Yeah, people love Yeomi.
Like, how do you decide? Yeah, for sure. How do you decide what you keep for yourself and what you offer up, like in campaigns or at like maybe Comic Cons, as far as original art goes? That's got to be like a hard decision, like giving away children almost, I would think.
Ooh, it's hard. I didn't think it would be hard because I've never had a problem selling original art before. But like with this book, it might just be because it's new and I just finished a lot of these pages. I'm still very attached to them, so I'm having a hard time letting go of a lot of them. But that's also why I am offering original art on the campaign. And I made sure I didn't have. Sorry. I didn't have all 70 pages up on there. Yeah, I think we're breaking up, so I apologize if I'm talking over you. So yeah, the original art, I'm only offering maybe like 25 pages or so. So there's a select amount of the original art that I'm selling on this campaign, and the rest of it, I'll figure it out at a future date.
Wow. Well, very cool. Again, there's some catch-up tiers as well. So if you missed out on some of the previous issues, you have a chance to pick up those issues and get caught up on the story, which is pretty cool. And then talk about this like wood burning portrait. What's going on here?
Oh, yeah. So that's something that I have one right here that I've been using as a mug cover. So cool. This is a smaller one. The ones for this campaign will be bigger. They're like at least 5 by 7 inches. And so they should be the same size as the chapter 2 ones, but these are made with pyrography. It's not just like a laser burn thing. If you see it through the camera, you can see it's like deeply etched because I hand burn the drawings onto these wood plaques. And So it's been something that I've been offering since the first Fiendish campaign. The idea behind them was I wanted to offer an original art tier at the time because Fiendish 1, 2, and 2.5 were drawn digitally, so I didn't have original pages, but I wanted to offer original art, and I was like, do I do sketch cards? But then I was doing leather work and pyrography at the time, so I had the tools for this, and I figured, well, wouldn't this be cool to offer a sketch card, but on wood? And that's what I did for Fiendish 1. And then for Fiendish 2, I offered like character portrait options, so I'm continuing that with this campaign.
Wow. That sounds like a lot of work.
It is. They're very time consuming. And I realized that, well, for I way underpriced them for the Fiendish 1 campaign, and I also had way too many of them. I had 60 of them to do. I have a picture of just like 60 of these little plaques just covering my floor before I shipped them out. There's just like 60 little demon faces. I had no life for a week trying to finish those. But then for chapter 2, I offered less of them. It was limited to 20, but it was because it's character faces take more time than drawing an ugly demon. So that was really time consuming too. So they're more limited on this campaign, but I think it's a pretty cool item. So hopefully people still like it.
100%. Yeah, it's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Incredible.
Yes, Yeomi's been it's been a bit of a uncouth term what LB stands for. But yes, she's gone from being the pack mule to brave party member. I mean, Ragnar still treats her like the pack mule, so don't get your hopes up too much, but yeah. She's leveling up.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And then the map too is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something from the chapter 2 campaign as well. It's canvas. Yeah. It's not just a poster, so it's a canvas cloth map.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Quality.
I have one on the wall behind me over there. You can't really see it, but
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a sizable thing. Yeah.
And then it looks like you have some of your trading cards that you've been doing, and it looks like up to this point, if you jump in, you'll get, I think, 2 trading cards so far, right? Because we hit that first goal, and then we get there was another the 45K one, so you'll get 2 cards, right, if you back within the next 2 days.
Yes, that's right. I posted there's a rough of the second trading card in the campaign updates. Oh, I need to post the first one. There's a bit of a joke surrounding whittling on my channel. I can't really describe it, but it's just an in joke that kind of is like friendly competition between Fiendish and Phil Diaz's book. He's got this Western coming out that we're all joking is going to be titled The Whittler. Anyways, so I figured I would have some fun with the first stretch goal. And the thing with these trading cards is the trading cards for Fiendish have it's something I've been doing since the Fiendish 1 campaign, and they all have Pathfinder stats on the back. So I have the one for Kazimir from Fiendish 1 right here. And this is like a mini character sheet that's all the information from a Pathfinder character sheet, but boiled down into like a mini version. And sometimes if you know the game and you know what these traits and abilities are, you'll be able to decipher secret character information from it. So I thought this was a cool add-on thing to have. And a lot of the stretch goals for Fiendish have always been these trading cards. And on this campaign, I actually have a tier, or it's an add-on where you can get caught up on all the previous trading cards. If you miss the previous campaigns, you can get all of them as a pack. So there you go.
Cool. That's awesome. Such a good idea.
Yeah. So they're all statted out for my fellow gaming nerds.
For sure. Well, I mean, Renie, this is awesome. I'm going to put the link here one more time for everybody in the chat to be able to check it out. And 2 days left to go. Let me go ahead and capture this real quick and put it in the chat again. If you have not backed You got a couple more days until Saturday, probably Saturday night, Saturday afternoon, to use this link right here and get over there and back it. Be one of the 556 backers so far. Just incredible. So it's such a good title, and the art is so amazing. 558. So we got a couple backers, which is pretty awesome.
Yay!
So
yes, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, we're trying to get to the 50K stretch goal. Will be 2 more pages of world building in the book. So that's the next stretch goal. At the back of every Fiendish book, I've been talking about the world building and all the nerdy fantasy stuff. I always have extra info in the back of like, this is some extra info on the town, or like this is a species description. So I'll add more pages into the book for the next stretch goal. So if this book looked good to you, check out the free preview on Global Comics that is linked on the campaign. Yep, and help us share the campaign out so we can get to 50K. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. Here is the link right here. So if you want to go to Global Comics and check out those first 15 pages,
thank you.
I think you're going to fall in love with the title. I know I really enjoy it. I was really excited to see issue 3 coming. Can you kind of walk through, like, how do people follow you? I know you have an amazing channel yourself. Tell us about your channel. Tell us about your socials so that people can stay up to date with everything that you're doing.
Sure. So my channel is Renie Draws, RenieDraws. I'm pretty much Renie Draws everywhere. That's my Instagram, my Twitter handle, my website, reniedraws.com. And I must have Renie Draws on a bunch of websites that are neglected that I never use as well. So you can find me at all those places. I'm mostly on Twitter and YouTube. So follow me there. Also, check out the Fiendish website at fiendishcomic.com. It's not fiendish.com. It's fiendishcomic.com. Fiendish.com is some like wine website. I don't understand. I don't know how that happened. But
if you get drunk, it's not Renie's fault.
No, no, I'm not. That's comics, not wine. Or whatever it is now. But yeah, anyways, fiendishcomic.com. It's the website is super expansive. I've got links to all the books. There's a store, obviously. There's merch on there. You can buy the previous books. There's a link to the campaign and links to the Global Comics chapters. I have a gallery. I have a cover guide, which I like to make sure that people know about, because I know a lot of customers are collectors, so you want to know what covers you have, and then you can go to the cover guide where I have who did each cover and what time it came out. Is this an exclusive? So you can check that out. And I also have a bunch of world building information. So if you're a giant nerd and you like reading a lot and you like numbers, you can go check that out. And there's like the Nanarsa dictionary, character profiles, and all kinds of crazy stuff on there. So yeah, give that a follow. And yeah, thank you so much.
And then as far as cons, I know I saw on your socials you've done a couple cons. We talked about Osaka. Are you doing any more cons for the remainder of the year here in the US where fans could find you?
Probably not. I don't have any plans to. Yeah, I think I need to hunker down and just draw the book, because I 2 or 3 cons a year is quite enough for me. And I've already done 3. So right now I'm going to hunker down and draw. And I should be I do Heroes Con every year unless something comes up. So I should be coming back to Charlotte next year. But yeah, for now, not really. You can always find me on YouTube though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Renie, I had such a pleasure getting to talk to you. Love your comic book. Big fan of Fiendish. And we'd love to have you back when the comic comes out so we could talk the story. And then obviously whenever you're ready to jump into your next campaign, we would love to have you back to talk about that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was a great conversation. I appreciate it. And thank you, chat, for being here. I'd love to come back on if you would like to have me.
No, absolutely. Anytime, Renie. And then for everybody that was in the chat, please get over to Indiegogo. Make sure that you back it. I have her website in there. You could follow her everywhere at Renie Draws. But Renie, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I wish for you to have the very best rest of your week.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your week as well. And Alex VRB Creative Blog is on my channel tonight, so come over to my channel at 10:30. Yeah, and see you guys there.
At 10:30 Eastern, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, Renie. Well, you hope you have a great one. I'll be respectful of your time because I know you got your own channel to go to. But thank you again. Really appreciate you.
Thanks again.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Thank you, Renie. I really appreciate it. It was such a pleasure to meet you.